Hi, welcome to Speech Talk Live, episode number 26. My name is Jay Oza. I'm the host of the show, and today we have Atul Wankade and Julie Finkelstein on the program. So let me just kind of give you an overview of this program. Oh, before that, I'm based out of Hazlet, New Jersey, and I do kind of three things quickly. I work as an independent consultant. Second thing is I am a mentor for this Coursera course called Introduction to Public Speaking, and part of that I host this show as a way to help myself and others become better and more confident speakers. And the third thing I'm working on, which I keep saying one day I'll say I'll finished it, but it's not finished yet. So I'm currently writing a book that's sort of related to what we do here. And I think I finally got a focus now, so I'm going to hopefully complete it soon, at least get the first draft done by the next couple of weeks. So that's a little bit about me. So what we try to do on this show is, as I always say, that this is a program we try to do like five things. One is to learn about public speaking, and I don't want to use the word public speaking. I just like to use the generic speaking because there is no such thing as public speaking, as Julie keeps reminding me, the quote that I always use. There's only good speaking and bad speaking, right? So part of this is to learn. Second is to teach, because you can only become better by teaching others. So as you know, Julie and I have been on this for quite some time, and Atul has now started to join us. So part of he'll realize that he's going to be in a position to teach others because he's going to gain more experience. And he already may have quite a bit of experience since he works at a high-tech companies. But hey, there's always room to learn, right? And to teach. The third thing is we also share speeches and some of the things that we're doing as far as our public speaking journey is concerned. So this is a place where we share and then get feedback. The third thing is practice. So as you'll see after we go through the welcoming and the quick intros, we will be practicing our 3-minute speeches, and that's part of this. And then of course the whole show is practice because we deal with topics that are pretty serious. These are not like light topics. These are topics that you would discuss in a formal, not a formal setting, but it's a topic that you would have more of an in-depth discussion with people on. And the fifth thing is we support each other, because this is the way we tend to, we're your cheerleaders. So anything you're trying here, we're going to be rooting for you. And so that, and also at the same time, we're going to point out things that, through example, hopefully, that you can do better. So that when you go out into the real world and doing it there, it shouldn't be any different than what you're doing here. Okay, so that's the whole point of it. So that's basically what we try to accomplish. And today's show is a little bit light. I didn't make it too heavy with reviewing a lot of speeches. One of them is more, again, what we're trying to do is to teach. And I've come up with a video. I don't know if you guys had a chance to view it, but I can go over it, so it's no big deal if you haven't. On something like 5 steps I have come up with on how somebody who wants to start out. I'm sure you get these questions asked, like, how do I become a good speaker? So I've come up with 5. I actually added 2 more. So I will go over that, and then I'd like you to have a discussion on that and see what you think. Maybe you may have some other ideas that I'd like to find out. The second one, which I wish that Fabiana was on, because she's the one who asked me this question, so I decided that it might be something that we should discuss. And it has to do with attribution. It's something I never really gave much thought to, because I tend to follow the examples in writing that whenever you use ideas, or if you're quoting something, you give attribution, otherwise it's considered plagiarism. The question is, what do you do when you're giving a speech? Speech is a little informal, so I just wanted to have a discussion on that with you guys, and just to see what you have to say about that. And then the third segment, I have picked out this speech by I think Julie can pronounce this name better, Zhang, and it's a very interesting speech, and also it's his own personal experience on how he overcame rejection. And I think this is pretty useful for all of us because when you give a speech, you're going to be rejected. And I like what he had to say. And he has written a book. Actually, I read the book. So we can discuss that. So that's the show. And at this point, I'd like you guys to give a quick intro, and then we'll move into our 3-minute speeches. Okay? So Atul, why don't you go next?
Hi everyone. Hi Jay, hi Julie, and hello to the folks. First of all, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody is enjoying and having a good time for the holidays. I'm Atul Wankhare. I am based in Bellevue. I work as a software engineer. And yeah, good to be on the show. Over to you, Julie.
Thanks, Atul. There's a little lag between my mute button and my hand. So my name is Julie. I've been with Jay on this program, and I also am doing the second round of the Introduction to Public Speaking classes. So I actually have a study buddy. My apologies here. I have a study buddy. He's from Germany, but I met him in Chicago, and now I'm in Stanford, but he's looking to move somewhere else. But this miracle of online is that we're going to be discussing each of the units each week. So you're welcome to join us. I'm not sure when that will be, probably Tuesdays. And hopefully, I'm not sure if he wants to post those videotapes, but if he doesn't, I will do a summary of the videotapes and post them. In addition, I am currently running a Saturday morning reading and discussion, and my basic theme is success. And I think that we all have success inside us, so the theme is uncovering our own success, what is already there. In addition, I'm going to explore adding 20 minutes to before that to do meditation because I believe in the power of meditation. And on Wednesday evenings, I'm starting a program based on there's a guy called Napoleon Hill in the 50s. He talks about masterminding group. So I want to use something similar to that format to continue manifesting our success discussion. With that, I turn over back to Jay. Thank you.
Yeah, Julie, thanks a lot. I just wanted to make a comment on what you just said, that you're going to be reviewing these units. I think you should, I don't know how your study buddy feels, but I think there may be quite a few people who may be interested in that. So you could set up a hangout just like what we're doing here. I don't know, it's up to you. You can check with your study buddy and set up a time and just say, look, we're going to be, for the next 10 weeks, we're just going to have a discussion of each unit. And I think some people may find that very useful. So it's something to think about if that's something that you want to bring in other people. Typically not that many people join, but at least make an announcement saying that you're going to be doing that and see what if other people are, if anybody else is interested in that. All right, so at this point I'm going to take a brief pause, and then we'll move into a three-minute segment, okay? Okay, welcome back. My name is Jay Oza. This is Speech Talk Live episode number 26. So one of the things we do starting out this program is to do I call it a 3-minute segment. And the purpose of this is to pick any topic that we're interested in and just kind of talk about it for 3 minutes. It's something that you get to practice because, let's face it, if you speak more than 3 minutes, then you're going to be a bore. And you should be able to encapsulate everything in 3 minutes. Now, if you want to be, in my case, I tend to go over 3 minutes, and somehow that happens because when you're not prepared, you tend to say a lot, and you tend to repeat a lot. Now, that's okay here, but somebody was trying to reach me. I have no idea why. Somebody named Wendy Ishak. Sorry about that. So I think I lost my talk there. This happens all the time. Anyway, so one of the things is to just give a 3-minute talk. So I'll go first, and I want to talk about coaching. And I learned a very important lesson last week, and it's a personal story, and it has to do with my son. His name is Hirsch, and he plays trumpet. Now, this is a could be a big topic, but I learned the value of coaching. And we anything where we want to become good at it, I'm firmly convinced that you really need to find a good coach. And something that this came up in one of the speeches that we had reviewed. It was given by I think his name was Cook, right? Not Scott, not the guy from I think it's Scott Cook, right? He was the founder of Intuit, and he was giving a speech at the Harvard Business commencement, and one of the things he recommended, advice he gave to the student body was the graduates was that have a coach, the importance of a coach. He has a coach, and all the people that are CEOs that are successful have a coach. And I didn't think much of it, but then I just recently saw that my son started playing trumpet from 4th grade, and initially the coach that he had was a woman named Sarah, and she was excellent. That coach kind of developed a habit in my son that he had to go every week to take his lessons, and then I put him in this rock band camp, and they have a performance at the end of the year. So he got that experience of what it's like performing and being in a rock band camp and put the music together in 1 week and perform in front of parents. Okay, so that was good. But then after he finished 6th grade, I moved him to another coach because I wanted to make sure that is he really serious to take it to the next level. And I got him an excellent coach. His name is John, and John he's an elderly gentleman. He's got a lot of experience teaching trumpet. He's also a teacher. And to make the story short, so he's been going to John since he started 7th grade. He's in 8th grade now. And over the summer, John, had a word with me saying he encouraged me to have her try out for this audition, they call it, for the all-shore intermediate band for middle schoolers. I had never even given much thought to this because, I didn't really know whether my son was that good. I said, okay, I just want him to learn to play trumpet so that it would be a social thing. He could join the marching band and play in the concert band and develop friendships that way for people who are focused on, doing something. And when he mentioned that, he said, look, Hirsch is good, but he'll need a little work, and I'm pretty sure that even if he doesn't make it, it'll be a good experience for him to do it. Well, to make the story short again, last Saturday he had his audition, and I found out later that evening that my son did make the all-shore intermediate band. And afterwards, I was having a conversation with my son. I said, listen, in life, you just learn a very important lesson, whether you know it or not, but let me just tell you what I learned. That if you want to be successful, you need 3 things. Maybe there are more, but 3 things I can come up with. One is you need a good support system, and you have that in your parents, your sister, and your relatives. Second is you need a good coach who's going to guide you through the process, and he has a trust in you, and you follow his system. And if you know that in the past he's had successes, then you know the system works. You just have to follow it faithfully. And third is you have to be motivated and be committed to it. And I think if you do that, even if you don't make it, at least your system is right. Sometimes you don't always get what you want, but at least you did everything right. And in his case, the third part is a little weak. He's sometimes not that motivated, and that's the part I said you need to work on. So I gave him my little advice. Hopefully that works. I said this applies to everything in academics or anything you're going to try in the future. So I said, you now know how to be successful. You don't need to be taught over and over again what it takes to be successful. I hope you learn from this and use it as you get older. So coaching is very important. It's one big part of that. Besides the support and your own motivation, coach can really streamline the process that's required for you to get to that next level and succeed. Okay, that's my 3-minute. Probably went over, but hey, that's how it goes. Julie, you want to go next?
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, I appreciate your discussion on coaching. So I'm kind of working along that same idea of success, and I find that many of us, sometime in life, we want to do a business or even a project or initiative. And when I was doing that in my career, I wanted to start my own business, and I had to do a business plan. Now, business plans are great, but what I found is that it's it's not always the right place to start. And I kind of think like I create, because I was in systems, I created this thing. I'm calling it the success life cycle, or the developmental stages of success. It starts with uh, four major stages, but they are not linear. They're not like a ladder that you climb up. They're more like a hurricane. There's always like something that's like in the heart of it, but everything always circles and everything moves. So the first thing in this life cycle of success is meeting people where they are at. This is supposed to help you wherever you are at. And the second thing is you have to keep at it, which is what you talk about. So the four stages for me, the first one is vision. It's just having a desire. It could be very well-defined vision, or very, if this vision, like I have a gut, I know I want to do something with my life. And the process will help to do that. The second stage is, I think, what's missing. It's before the business plan and should input into the business plan. And that I'm calling it experimentation and looking for opportunities. So you may have an idea. For example, I want to do the success thing. There's so many people doing it already. So I have to keep trying different things to see what's attractive to people, what works, what people get, and if I want it to be a business, what the business opportunities are. So it's experimenting and seeking opportunities. Out of that, you have something that's maybe doable, and you go through a proof of concept, or the pilot stage, where you take a small model of your concept that's laid out, and you have a business plan at that point, but you do it at a granular level, at a small level. So that's the third stage, proof of concept. And the third one is the scale up to the scope you want, and maybe incremental, but it is a life-size project, whatever it is, and you have maybe stages, but it's not longer a model phase. And the fourth one is, of course, maintenance. And we know that in IT, 80% of the IT budget is in the maintenance. So there's only 20% left to do those other four stages. But it's like a seed. A seed can be very small, but it's necessary to germinate a new plant. So my success life cycle is having a gut feeling or vision, experimenting and finding opportunities, do a proof of concept or pilot, scale up to project level, and then maintaining the effort and refinement. So those are my four stages. People can start wherever they're at, but if they show up and they meet this process, it will continue to grow. So I agree with you that my speech is finished. So as linking it into your idea of coaching, I think that having a coach is really important. But more important is finding like-minded people who are committed to this process. And we can actually coach each other and grow together. And that is what Napoleon Hill devised as the mastermind project, where it's a group of people come together, make a commitment to show up, to discuss, and to support each other. So that is part of the reason why I want to do the Wednesday evening. I'm not sure what I'm calling it. Right now I have masterminding success. So, okay, that's my speech. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very good. And this what you just described applies to just about anything, right? It's
yes.
It applies to, because I'm going to be using some of this. I kind of discussed that because I consider a speech as a product. Okay, Atul, you're next.
Hi, that's a nice speech, Julie and Jay. That's
Yeah.
a great input. Yeah. What I wanted to talk today about is that last week I was browsing through Indian channels, and there was this thing, that controversy that's going on about what Amir Khan has said on the intolerance issue that is going in India. So after browsing through a channel, everywhere the message was about what Amir Khan had said, that he wanted. So Amir Khan is basically a very well-known actor in India, and currently what is happening, a little background about intolerance issue, is that the current government that is in India is a BJP, which has its roots in from RSS, which is a Hindu uh, group. So what is happening here is that there are some incidents that happened in India, and where the people think that, the government has not taken enough steps to fight against, like, some issues that happened. So it started with people like writers and all returning their awards as a part of showing their intolerance uh, uh, position. So Amir Khan recently made a comment that, on a show where, he said that his wife is a little bit concerned about raising kids in India when there is this such a kind of environment. And what media is trying to do, like, what I realized, that he was just talking out his mind. He had some concerns, and he was just raising, and that was also that he didn't say it. He was just mentioning that what his wife had concern. But what media portrayed was everything, that, oh, he wants to, he doesn't feel secure, and he wants to leave country, and all those totally crap thing, where just portraying anything totally opposite. And this has created kind of, like, huge WhatsApp messages, Facebook videos, a lot of people commenting on this one, and, kind of viral kind of thing that's happening right now. And I'm little concerned here, because, what if you go and watch the video, what people are commenting about, like, I feel that he was very formal, and he was, he just wanted to let it out to know, like, what his current state of mind was. And that was pretty fine. But people or media just, it it blown that issue into something very big. And, every uh, and everybody in India is, like, talking this. So talking this issue. Uh, the thing that, being a, like, learned person or educated person, we know that media is all about getting those TRP ratings out. And I'm really concerned about why people are sharing all those news, why people are commenting, why tweeting about, and making it kind of, making it the topic a trending topic. And then all media does is then, having this lot of panel discussions about, oh, he said this, and then what do you feel about, and, just getting the entire few days we've been just hearing about the same topic. I am pretty sure that, people have very good topic to discuss about development, about education, about technology in India. But what focuses now media is giving is just about, things that are really doesn't matter right now. Where India needs is, like, growing towards technology, finding new ways, entrepreneurship, all these things which are, making country move forward. But what right now we are discussing is all those issues where, it's all media is trying to create a hype, and, putting all people focus in topics which are not relevant or not that concerning now. And uh, yeah, so it was kind of, for me, whenever I switch those channels, the news channels in India, all I'm seeing is this news. So I was little concerned. Yeah, that's my speech.
All right, Atul, that was good. Just a few comments on that. Yeah, I haven't really been following that because, as you mentioned, that this is what's happening nowadays with social media and media in general, that they can take something minor and blow it out of proportion, and that's the world we're living in. And like it or not, that's what happens. You get all the positives with social media. You also get to live with the negatives too. And here's an example of what you're mentioning is India learning that social media works both ways. That when you say something, it can be used and turn it into something that's much bigger. So what that means is that whenever somebody's famous, they have to be very careful what they say, and whether it's on social media or in media, because today nothing is private. Everything you do is public. Even if it's an offhanded comment that you think there's nobody listening, as somebody's picking it up with a cell phone, and it can go viral. So something to point out that you're probably familiar with it. If you remember in the last election, somebody had taped Mitt Romney when he was giving a speech where he said that there are 47% that are never going to vote for me because of the government. They're getting all this stuff from the government. And he didn't want that out. If it was up to him, he would not have wanted other people to see that. That was a speech he was giving to his supporters. But somebody taped it and on an iPhone, and then it went viral. And I believe that one video pretty much hurt his chances of getting. We don't know whether that would have helped, but it created a narrative that was very difficult for him to overcome. That he didn't care about. The poor people or the middle class people who were dependent on the government for some reason. It made him look like he only cared about the rich. So yeah, so the point you're making is very important, and the best thing that I would say is that just ignore it. It'll go over. Something else will replace it soon. All right. So those are excellent speeches, and now we can move to our first segment. I'm going to take a brief pause. Julie, I have muted your phone, so I don't know whether you can unmute it from there or I have to unmute it. Can you unmute it? Okay, can you mute it back?
Thanks. I didn't even realize I forgot to mute it, so feel free. Thank you.
Rather than just
asking me to,
because Atul was in the middle of his talk and he was very passionate about it, so I didn't want to interrupt him and break his thought there. Because while I was giving my speech, or somebody tried to call me, I had no idea who this. Some lady named Wendy Ishak. I have no idea who she is. That's what happens. I guess I'm famous now. People are calling me while I'm in the middle of my show. That's the thing. Call me later. Anyway, at this point, I'm going to take a brief pause. Okay, welcome back. Welcome to Speech Talk Live, episode 26. My name is Jay Oza. And we're going to move to our first segment, and this is more like a discussion that I want to have with the panel here. And I'm going to kind of just I recorded a video because this is a common question that I get asked. So I just wanted to kind of put it out on the video and then have a discussion around it. And people say, like, I want to become a good speaker or a confident speaker or an excellent speaker. How do I go about it? So I gave some thought to this, and I came up with, I think in the video I had 5 steps, but I'm going to include one more, and I'm going to go through this quickly because I want to get your thoughts on it. What do you have you given thought to this, and what would you suggest? So I tell people that the first thing you need to do is to record your personal goals video, and this could have simple questions such as, it's something what Julie kind of mentioned in her 3-minute speech, like, you have that, gut feeling, then you have to experiment and all that, right? But this is kind of formalizing the process, that if you don't make your first video, then I don't know what your level of commitment is on becoming a good speaker. So here you want to basically just keep it to yourself and maybe share it with 1 or 2 people that are going to keep you accountable, like she said, with the mastermind. So you can create this one buddy of yours that you're working with. And like Judy mentioned, she's working with her buddy from Germany. And the purpose of this is you just answer like 5 questions, or you can answer 3 questions. It's up to you. The first question would be like, why do you want to improve your public speaking skills? Then, how do you plan to do it? I mean, what are the things you plan to do? And how are you going to measure yourself, because that's important. The third is more like aspirational, like once you become an excellent speaker, what do you plan to do with that? Like, you know, is it more so that you can have meaningful conversations with people, to do well in job interviews, to give speeches in front of a small group, sales, whatever? You need to define that. Then the other thing is like, who is that one person who's going to kick your butt if you don't do it? You know, who's that one person that you're going to pretty much give him or her complete freedom and say, listen, if I'm falling off the wagon, you have a right to call me up on it. You know, raise the flag and get me back on track. You got to give that person that level of authority to do that. The fifth one is more for you. Like, what if you don't do it? What happens? So these are the 5 questions I've come up with. You may have your own. So that's the first video, which I think is the most important, because if you don't make that first video, it's easy to lose track and not be committed and have that discipline. So I think that first video is very important. And then the second thing that I tell people, and this is something I just came up with it recently, so this is something I'm working on right now, is what I'm calling it the 330 challenge. And what this is every day for the next 30 days, record a 3-minute video, kind of what we just did, but just make it more formalized, do maybe at most 3 takes, and record one every 30 days. It may sound like a lot, but it's not. You'll start becoming better at it. And I can spit out probably like 5. I already have topics that I've jotted down because now I'm focused on it, and I already have like 5 topics that I'm going to work on right after this is done. And I'll have 5 of them done hopefully by the end of today. Well, that's my goal. I'm not sure whether I'm going to achieve that. So you want these 30 videos. The reason for this is that you need a baseline on where you stand, right? You need a baseline measurement on what your speaking skills really like. And again, some of these are going to be good, some of these are going to be okay, and some of these are going to be terrible, but just do them, because that's where you're going to find out. The third step would be to take the Coursera course that we all have taken here. That's the Introduction to Public Speaking course on the Coursera on-demand platform that's taught by Dr. Matt McGarrity from University of Washington. I think the course is excellent. There's nothing, I don't see anything wrong with this course. The good thing about this course is you get to record 4 speeches and then get peer-reviewed: intro, impromptu, informative, and persuasive. If you go through this course once, which very few people actually do and complete, you're almost way ahead of, I would say, I don't know, percentages-wise, 99% if you do that. So, because I've seen it, less than 1% I come across that actually ever finished this course. Then you've got to, so these are the basic stuff, right? So the personal video, the 330 challenge, and take the Coursera course once. If you do that, believe me, you're going to become a good speaker, okay? Unless you're just winging it and not even doing any kind of self-evaluation. Then if you want to step it up, and this is where Julie is right now, she's repeating the course again. And this is, I kind of cutely call it taekwondo, right? Like taekwondo, I don't know if you know how that works, where you have to go through all the belts. And then once you get the black belt, you think you're done, and they tell you, the sensei or whatever they're called, that no, you got to now, if you go through it again, you get stripes. So it continues till you get to the Grand Master level, which could be like level 9 or something. Anyway, so if you repeat that, now I've repeated this Coursera course 4 times, okay? So I know that each time, and I have all the speeches that are, I've actually just wrote a blog, and I included all the speeches that I have recorded. So you need to document that. And if you go through it 4 times, you're going to improve each time. And I believe I have improved every time I've gone through the course. I've learned new things, and I've tried different things. So that's step number 4. And again, you can do it 3 times, 4 times. I plan to go through it at least once a year. That's my goal. The 5th step is something that's a little advanced. And here's what I called speech splits. What this means is, let's say you are working on a speech that's 15 minutes long, right? And now this could be like if you were asked to give a speech at a job interview, which I have. I have actually gone and given a speech at a job interview, which I actually look forward to doing. But what if you are not going to get that 15 minutes? What if like some executive says, oh, I have a busy, I can't really come to that? Then you need some 3-minute speech also that you need to prepare. So you take a 15-minute and split it into 3-minute, 5-minute, and even 30 seconds. Now this could come in very handy. For example, like one time I had attended an interview, the executive could not see me. And I didn't do this, but now if I had known, I would have done it. I would have said to the manager, said, listen, I would definitely like to meet with her for at least 3 minutes, and that's it. So if you can squeeze 3 minutes, I would really appreciate it. And I would have given her that 3-minute speech. I think that's important. The sixth thing is kind of what we're doing here. That is going on YouTube, and these are all recorded. So this is giving us confidence, and we're taking it to the next level. So this is kind of an advanced level where we're recording videos, we're testing out things like what Julia's mentioned. We're experimenting with a lot of different things, and also the show is kind of a way for us to take it to the next level by coming on it either as a host or as a panelist or whatever, guest, whatever. This is the way to do it, right? And then the seventh step is the ultimate, right? If somebody actually pays you to give speeches. So I'm not at that point yet. Nobody's paid me. Maybe a couple of nickels here and there. Even that I haven't gotten. But that's the goal, right? If the seventh step is when people saying, hey, you know, I really like what you have to say. I'm willing to pay for you to come in and give a talk. So if you can get to that, I think Julie's close to that. So Julie can be our first person here who will actually show us a check she gets from giving speeches on mindfulness or business. So those are the 7 steps that I have come up with that you can, it's a journey, right? That you can start and work your way towards becoming a good to excellent or great speaker. So, Julie, what do you think? You're actually doing some of these things. What would you suggest if somebody came to you? Is any of these things make sense, or there are some things that you would also include?
Yeah, Jay, thank you. So I did watch your video, and I thought that it's kind of like what you were talking about last week, which was the lean speech technology. And I think that lean speech technology is I like that title, lean communication technology. I think these are great. I think your idea of making a personal goal, you know, you kind of put your dime down when you make a declaration. And you know, Goethe says when you imagine it, there is power to it. All sort of magic comes to what you want to do. So make a declaration has a certain kind of magical power to making things happen. You know, shit or get off the pot, since you say obscenity is okay. And I like your questions. I think why is good. You know, the how is good. The goal is good. Who to keep you accountable? Definitely a study buddy is very powerful. My study buddy I found from the public speaking class, and we started last year, and then he had to take a break because of his life problems. Not problems, his life goals. You know, he wanted to travel and stuff, and we are reconnecting again, and we're going to go through the second round. He's also finished the first round. I like the idea what you said. What do you lose if you quit? You know, because I had that opposite idea, which is don't give up. You know, don't give up. Just show up. And I think there's magic to that idea of not giving up and showing up. I like your 30-30 challenge. 3 in 30 challenge. But when you refine it that we have to do 3 speeches a day, we have to do 3 takes before we publish something, that intimidated me. So I'm revising that. I think I'll start in January. I'm going to call it 30 in 90, which means I'll do 1 a day, but I'll do it for 3 days on the same topic. So it's the only third one that's released. There's a guy called John Maxwell. Maxwell Maltz, and he's a psychologist. And he says that when you do something for 30 days, it habituates itself. And this is not Max, but someone else says when you do it in 90 days, it really integrates into your cellular system. It becomes a part of you. So I'm thinking in January I'll do that. I like, to respect the time, I like everything you said. I particularly what you call the split speech. I will call it modular speech, which is to do a plug and play. You know, you could have 3 minutes of the whole topic, but then you can have 3 minutes of a core concept. So the whole idea is just like when you develop a system, modular units becomes adaptable and reusable. So I would just call it modularize your speech. But overall, I think those are all great ideas, and I look forward to your forthcoming book. Thank you.
Yeah, one comment on that. That the 3:30 challenge, what I meant by that, just want to clarify. Just Atul, I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's just, as I mentioned, it's simple, right? You do a 3-minute. You kind of did that before, but
Right.
this is something you're focusing on. What I said is that you don't want to do more than 3 takes. So I'm not saying you have to do 3 takes. If you're satisfied with 1 take, then go with it. But I'm never satisfied with 1 take because I think I can do better. But what I don't want people to do is, because there are people out there who are never satisfied, they become very critical of their work. And what I'm saying by that is that after 3, you stop. That's the one. At that point, you decide which one do you want to post, the first one, the second one, or the third one. And that way you get an idea whether you improved, because sometimes you may stumble on a word and you may not want to. When I stumble on a word, I don't count that. I'm saying when you complete the whole 3-minute, then you get to decide which one do you want to post. But you don't want to keep doing takes after takes, so then it doesn't improve that much. You can't improve that much. And this is just, like I said, you want to get 30 done. So that's what I meant by that, Julie, that you don't want to do more than 3 takes, because otherwise you'll end up you'll never post it. And the point of this is you do want to start posting it. Atul, what did you think of it? Any comments, or what would you add to this?
Yeah, basically, definitely. First, I wanted to just start with your talk about that 5 things you said. The goal one is definitely what I really like it, is because unless you set a goal, you don't know where it's like where you want to end or where you want to reach, basically. And what other part, what I noticed, like you said, like share it with only one person. Sometimes I notice that, you know, if you share it with multiple people, it kind of it kind of builds up kind of a small pressure kind of things with on you, that, oh, you want to do something, and then people will, that sometimes might keep you motivated as well if you share it with number of people. And sometimes it might be just that you might get overburdened, because people will definitely will keep you asking or coming back to the question, oh, hey, what happened with your stuff, or how it is going, and then it kind of keeps you motivated if you try to share. The 3:30 challenge which you said, Jay, I tried to do it, but it like 3 times doing the same thing, and it was kind of a bit, as Julie mentioned, same feeling for me too. And so what I was planning to do it is somewhere, in the December time frame, where before that I wanted to go through the Coursera course of Introduction to Public Speaking at least once. I know I had joined it, but I didn't do it last time, and this time I'm going to definitely do this course. And yes, what you said about the other things about documenting and getting your speech reviewed is very important here. And definitely, because unless you review, you don't know what went wrong or how you can do it better. So I guess review is important part of that thing. Yeah, I totally agree with Julie about the 30 days to continue a thing about the habit. It's I heard about 21 days, just like 21 days is the ideal time where, if you do something for continuously for 21 days or this, it will basically, you will get into that habit of doing the same thing, and again, so it will basically, you will imbibe it. If you continue to do the same thing, it's just like even a small thing of waking up early in the morning. We try, sometimes we do, we don't, and if the small step here was just basically to wake up continuously for 21 days in the morning a little bit early, and then that you get used to it sooner or later. Yeah, that's from my side, Jay.
Yeah, so let me comment on one thing you said there regarding then I'll have a question that I want to ask you guys. So let me comment on this thing. When you say share it with multiple people, the reason I said one is because this is the person that you really trust, right? Because when you share it with a lot of people, they may not really help you that much. So this one person who really is going to know what you're doing. It is sort of, I think ideally is what Julie's doing would be the right way to do it. You find another study buddy that's doing it with you, because you don't want to do it with somebody who has not taken the course, it's not gone down that path, right? And they could actually hurt you more than help you, right? So you want to be careful there. That's why I said that start with one, and if you got other people that you can trust, because otherwise people are not invested in you. You want somebody that's really invested in you. So that's why you want to be careful before you start bringing more people into it. Okay. The other thing that I want you guys to tell me is which order makes more sense. Like after you do your personal goals video, does it make more sense to come up with a baseline? Because you said you had difficulty with the 330. Should that be the next step? Or the better step is to kind of ease your way into it and take the Coursera course, go through it once, and then come back to it and say, okay, now I've taken this course, now I'm ready to do 330 challenge, and then repeat the course again. So that ordering does make a big difference on how successful you're going to be. And something that you just said tells me that maybe the 330 coming right after the personal goals may get some people not even get started. They may just quit and say, oh, this is too difficult, and they may need more time. So maybe taking the course as the second step may be more preferable. It could be changed, but I just wanted to get your feedback on that. What do you think is more effective? Atul, you want to go next?
Yeah, basically that's exactly I definitely the 330 channel was a little bit intimidating for me as I heard, and I tried I gave like half an hour, 45 minutes of my time to try and see and take two recording, but I then thought like maybe I should do something, some formal process of going through some Coursera course. So that will what that will do is that will basically get my speeches reviewed. That will give me a little bit kind of confidence. Where am I heading in the right direction? What should I look for in those 3 for 30 challenges kind of thing? And remember, this is like doing the speeches 3 times, or maybe at least 3 times. If you are like very good, then you can just finish it in one time. But definitely for the starter, it won't be the case. He would definitely think that, oh, I need to, I stumble about this work. I started here. I did this, and he will not be very comfortable in posting that kind of novice kind of video where he's not very confident that is it ready? Is it yet ready to push? So doing that course would definitely, I think, will make it that process a little better, or he will be more confident in just going ahead with the challenge. This way.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. So I'm going to change that. That makes more sense because that's the feedback I wanted. That 330 may be too intimidating, and it may lead people to quit, saying, this is just too difficult. I can't do it. And the course and then of course when you take it, repeat it again, then you can decide how you want to take the course the second time. So I think what you said makes a lot of sense. What happened to Julie? Is she still there? All right.
I'm here.
Okay. Here. Julie, what do you think regarding switching that order, 2 to 3 orders?
Yeah.
Like what Atul just said, take the course first, because after the goals, people need that time to kind of ease their way into speaking. Like you said, some people have a lot of fear, and then once they complete, like you're in a point now that you completed the course, so 330 is not going to be intimidating for you. And then after you do the 330, you can now repeat the course the second time, because now you don't have to follow it exactly the way, because you already have gone through the material, and you even made notes on that material. So then you can just focus on the speeches. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, you know what I always try to look at everything in terms of a system life cycle, and that sometimes we need parallel pathing. So to me, I absolutely agree that taking the course with Atul and you is really fundamental, because it's a skills-based approach. You get the skills and the techniques you need to improve speech. But the other thing is to continuation of the process. At the same time, I would say find your support group. You know, whether it's a study buddy or a group of people, as Atul says, or coming to the Saturday reading program, or if you will accept them even they're at the beginning levels, that have them do something where they're not alone. Because public speaking, as you know, I've said many times, is one of the fundamental fears of human psyche. So to do it alone, you know, the course has a success rate of 1 in about 1,000. So to increase those odds, I can guarantee you that if you have a friend or 2 or 3 friends or a study group, the odds really accelerate amazingly. So if I look at it, I look at it in terms of 2 things. One is if you look at timeline, there's critical paths and there's parallel paths, right? So in terms of critical and parallel path, is sign up for the course, get yourself a support system, and then the rest will come through different times. That's what I think.
Okay, great. So at this point, I think we've covered this, so we can move on to the next segment. Okay, so I'm going to take a brief pause. Okay, welcome to Speech Talk Live, episode 26, segment number 2. This is probably going to be a short segment. We'll see. We always think these are going to be short segments, and then we have a real excellent discussion, and they turn into a 30-minute segment, even though our plan is to have a 15-minute segment. So we'll see if we can do this in 15 minutes. So this was a segment that I created because sometimes I like to answer questions rather than just keep reviewing speeches, because I think we've reviewed lots of speeches now, and those are good. And I'd like to have more of a discussion on what people are going through as they're trying to become good to excellent speakers. And one of the questions that came up was from Fabiana, and she's from Brazil, and I've been exchanging emails with her, and she recorded her introductory video, and she wants to come on the show, but I don't know what happens, and somehow today something must have come up, so she's not on the show. And as she is working on her speech, her 3-minute speech she was working on was about trying to sell Brazil to us, and I said, that's excellent, you know. I'm already sold, but hey, it doesn't hurt to sell to me again. So she was going to work on that. In fact, she did that in her introductory speech. So I said, just focus on that, and that would be a good topic in 3 minutes. You know, if you have 3 minutes to sell your country, that's great. I'm sure it probably would require more than that, but anything can be done in 3 minutes. So she was asking me, like, if she's getting information from different sources, what does she do with it when she's giving a speech? And I had never really given that much thought to this, because I tend to follow the rules from writing that if you are using somebody's ideas or quotes or anything, it's important to give the attribution, because it's the right thing to do. And in writing, if you don't do it, that's considered plagiarism, which is bad. You don't want to do it. So I started thinking about it, and I said, I came up with 3 reasons why it's important to give the attribution. But I said one thing you want to be careful is you don't want to keep attributing too many things, right? You need to structure your speech in such a way that you pick one item and attribute it, and then you can then give your point of view on it. And I said there are 3 reasons. One is honesty, because you want to be honest. If some idea you got from reading a book or watching a program or movie, it's important to give the attribution, because that is the right thing to do. The integrity is very important there. The second is it adds to your credibility. So if I hear something on, just for example, Oprah, and if Oprah says something about public speaking, that you should have a personal goals video. I don't know whether she said it or not, but let's say I watched a program where she said it, and that's where the idea, I got the idea from it. It's important for me to mention that. First of all, that's where I got it, and it's the right thing to do, but it adds to my credibility because of Oprah's reputation, that if I heard it on Oprah, then you would think like, wow, if Oprah is saying it, then definitely this is something worth trying, right? Because she has that level of credibility. She's very famous. And then if I'm just taking that, that's good, that it's adding to the credibility. A lot of people do that, and that's fine. But I'll take it a step beyond that, and I call this the creativity part, where you add your own insight or your own perspective. That becomes your own now. So you see what you've done here now is, and perhaps I'm making too much of this, but I just wanted to kind of make this clear because it is an important question that I hadn't really given a lot of thought to, that you want to give the attribution for integrity, then you wanted to do it for credibility, and then if you have a point of view or you have a different perspective or insight, then that adds to your creativity, and that enhances you as a thought leader, as your reputation, and gets enhanced because of that. That you are willing to take other ideas and add to it, and then somebody else can take that idea and add to it, and that's how ideas spread. So attribution is very important, and it's very important to do it early in the speech, and then there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, I just thought that it's something we could have a little discussion on, that how do you handle it? So Julie, what do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Attribution is actually a topic in the introduction to Coursera speech, and they definitely are in alignment with what you're saying, which is it's important to attribute. And I don't know about the reasons they gave, but I think plagiarism is a major issue. But what they said was that when you give a speech, the way you how to attribute or the way you attribute is different. So they say that you do mention the author and you mention the source, like the media, whether it's a TV show or a book or whatever, but you don't need to go into the specific references as they do in the book, the page numbers, the publication, which publication it is. So it's a more summarized view of the author or the idea and the source. And you can quote, but of course you can also paraphrase. So that was what I got from the note. My own personal tendency is I tend to attribute too much. I think it's partly because you said I want to give people. Actually, what I want is I want to give the idea to the people, the source of the idea. But I think by doing that, it actually undercuts my own sense of authority, and it undercuts my sense of ease in the topic. So for me, I'm trying to figure out how to do less attribution, but also to maintain integrity. So if you guys have any suggestions on that, that would be good. And so I thank you. I think the idea of doing discussion topics that the students have is really a great idea. And maybe you could even cut that segment out, put it into the discussion forum, and highlight the topic. I think that would increase the learning, enrich the learning process. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. So one thing I did before I go to Atul, that I pinned a question, or I opened a thread, that if anybody has a question that they want us to address on the show, then they can just post it. And I said, preferably, I said I'll give a higher priority to people who do it using video, if they can post a YouTube video with any kind of questions they have or something they would like us to address in more detail. But so far, I haven't gotten any takers. So this attribution I came up with is because this was an email that was sent to me by Fabiana, and I said, okay, this is good. Since I didn't get it on the on-demand platform, that I can address it, since it's something that if she has that question, I'm sure other people also have that question. And then I said, oh, there's a lot here that we can discuss. And I'm going to get back to the question that you asked, what you can do. But I want Atul to give us his thoughts on what he does, or if he has any thoughts on attribution and how he handles it. Atul?
Yeah, I basically you guys covered it both. I mean, I agree with Julie. Is if you have too much attribution in the speech, then it lessens your credit, or it makes you that it's like two things. One thing, it can indicate that, oh, you are a learned person because you have read so things, and you are attributing a lot of things. But on the other side, it also gives like, oh, I mean, the people want to hear the person's thought, not about a gathering of his thought from other people and just putting it in speech and telling the own thoughts or own interpretation of some things, rather than getting interpreting X person meant this, Y person did this, and kind of putting a lot of attribution in the speech. So even I want to get around how to either not bringing, or can we skip those attributions which are really doesn't. Sometimes you are giving speech which is not like just like book, for example. Book, it is very, otherwise in writing it will be plagiarism, where if you don't quote it, somebody can sue you. But does that happen in speeches, that, oh, it's fine if we don't attribute? It's like a gray area. Can we skip sometimes some things which are really not mandatory, to just tell that, okay, this is I got it from here or something? Can I just without losing the integrity, can we skip some things here? This was my question.
Yeah, so let me address that. So you guys have all seen like technical abstracts, right? Like, you know what they look like. If you ever go through them, there are like tons of attribution. It's like there's an attribution after attribution, like every single sentence, it seems like. You don't want to do that in a speech. You're not giving an abstract, okay? So with speech, you have a lot of flexibility. And if you got more than one attribution, unless, let's say, your speech is such that there are 3 parts to it, 3 examples, 1, 2, and 3, that might be okay if you are going to. I'm sure there's some kind of formula. I don't know whether the course covers it or not, but if you have too many attribution, that means your speech is not organized properly, because you should just narrow it to just one specific topic. So let me just give you an example. I just put this on the 330 challenge on the G+ community, and I took this, and something we covered in one of the episodes, but I wanted to expand on it, and it had to do with this one scene from the movie Godfather Part 2, and it's the part where Michael Corleone is meeting with this mobster named Hyman Roth in a Havana, Cuba hotel room, right? I think the scene is like probably less than 2 minutes or something. But then I took that, so that's attribution is right there, that I got this from this movie, right? I can't make that up because I need that. Because Godfather Part 2 is a very famous movie. Many people think it was probably one of the greatest films ever made. But then I take this scene and I analyze it, right? The analysis is mine. So once I do, the scene is not, I'm just using the scene as a kind of a setup because it allows me to explain it rather than use a lot of words that I would have to use. But then the whole analysis is all mine there, right? It's all pretty much mine now. I'm not, in this one, I don't take any scientific I could bring in if I wanted to really do an in-depth analysis. But what you can do, Atul, when you asked, is that if you use one attribution, then you should construct your speech in such a way, this is what I would do, where you have a particular story or a personal example, so that you don't have to keep on using more attribution. You can play with that one attribution, and that would make up, because if you put a story together, that could easily take up 3 to 5 minutes, depending on what you want to include. So it all depends on how you construct it. It's a speech construction problem here, not that you have too many attribution. Because if you have too many attribution, then you're basically giving an abstract, and that could confuse your audience. So that's my suggestion. I don't know, Julie, any thoughts on that? How does that? Because you mentioned the same thing that Atul did. And what I'm saying is that you need to look at your speech and come up with some examples, personal examples or other examples, so that one attribution, you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, I agree with Atul, and thank you for answering. So what I got from what you said is just find a key idea, attribute that, and then use your own reaction. Then you don't have to attribute every idea that you have with response to that. So example, if I have a point A I want to talk about, I can attribute that. But in my responses, some of my ideas may come from other people. But if I'm using it for my own purposes, I may not need to attribute that, unless it's, it's such a leading edge idea. But not everything from everywhere. That's what I got, and I appreciate that. Is that
Yeah,
right?
because you always talk about that book, Search Inside Yourself, right? That book is something you always you always use quite a bit. So if you take an idea and say, by the way, here's something that I got from Search Inside Yourself from, I forgot the author's name, and then saying, but let me tell you how I'm using this, like that, something like that. You get the idea. Atul, any closing thoughts?
That's it. I mean, I got your point, Jay. Like taking one idea, like taking the reference from the Godfather thing which you told, like have something and then based everything on that one rather than splitting your speech into multiple attributions. So that means it's basically you have to make your speech based on one idea on the reference rather than putting uh, different pieces. Like it's like stitching your speech with attributes then instead of doing that.
Yeah. So So just if you have an issue with a lot of attribution, then I say revisit your speech and just pick only one and saying what can I do with this, and then build your speech using that one idea. Because remember, speech is informal, right? You're having a conversation, so you're not giving an abstract. This is not an abstract dump because people don't even read abstracts. I heard like when somebody publishes an abstract, at most there are only 5 people who ever read it. So that's not what you want in a speech. You want your speech to be shared and people to take action. So that's I think we covered this. All right, so I'll move to the next segment. Welcome to Speech Talk Live, episode 26, segment number 3. And in this segment, we're going to review and discuss a speech that was given at a TEDx event by Jia Zhang. And I may not be pronouncing his name correctly. We'll have Julie correct me on that. But he gives this speech on rejection. I thought it was a very interesting speech for a number of reasons. First is he's very authentic, right? This is his personal experience on how he wanted to get funding. Like he gives a whole history of like how he admired Bill Gates, and he came to America and started a company, and then things didn't turn out right. He didn't become the next Bill Gates, but he learned something important in life that may even be more important, which is we all deal with, right? That when he didn't get the funding, he was kind of taken back, like he said in the speech, it's impersonal and personal. But what do you do with it? We all get rejected, right? And he really, rather than just saying, okay, I will just try again, he wanted to get to the root of it, that it's not that easy. You know, when people said failure, right? Fail fast, fail fast. And what Jia Zhang is saying is something that people don't talk about that in Silicon Valley, which is like, failing fast isn't that simple because you are getting rejected. In order to fail fast, you first need to understand what that feels like, and you can't just ignore that feeling and saying, "Oh, rejection is okay." It's not okay. You have to kind of get to the top of it. What does that really feel like? And I think he gets to the root of it, that what rejection really feels like as he goes through his process, 100 days of getting rejected, doing all, his whole purpose is to get rejected. He said, I need to kind of completely suck it out of my system so that I know it inside out, what it feels like, and what I don't want it'll hurt, and how to overcome it and not take it personally. And in the process, I think he's done us a lot of favor because he's really analyzed this one thing that most of us don't want to deal with. We just get rejected. We just say, just move on, move on. And what he's saying, it's not that easy to move on. You have to first understand what rejection is all about. And along the way, he makes this a very humorous speech, and he calls it, before donuts and after donuts, right? That's how he classifies it, where he goes to the drive-in, I think it was Krispy Kreme, and he asked these donuts to be made up like an Olympic rings, and he was quite surprised. This woman actually did it for him, and then she was so gracious about it and didn't even take any money from him. And he learned a very important lesson, that if you ask with a purpose and you look like you're authentic, you'll be surprised what you'll get. And he learned a lot. And one of the things at the end he kind of summarizes is that rejection is constant, right? We're all going to get rejected. If you give a speech, and I'd like to give an example of this from a movie. If you ever seen this movie, Jerry Maguire, that's with Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger. And Jerry gets fired. He had come up with this mission statement on how to do business at this sports agency that he's working at. And obviously, the company executives don't think that's how they want to do business, and they fire him. And as he's leaving, he thought that since he had done a great job, that people would be willing to join him as he's opening his own agency, where he's going to do it the right way, right? Where ethics and morality, all that's going to play an important role. And he asked these people, and he gives this passionate speech, like, farewell speech, right, before he exits the company's premises. And he's asking them, like, who's willing to join him, and nobody joins him, even though these are the people he has worked with for a long time. They probably went out for lunch, dinner, whatever. And only one person says, yes, I'll join you, and that's Dorothy. So the Dorothy is the thing you need in every speech. You need one Dorothy who's going to say, yes, Atul, I believe everything you're saying, or yes, Julie, I'll follow your mindful class. You only need that one person. And the rest of them have essentially rejected you, right? And that's what this guy, Zhajang, is saying, that in his case, it's personal, right? He's going to places where he's asking people if he can play silly things, like, because he wants to get it out of his system. Like, can he play soccer in their backyard, things like that. And, you don't have to do that. You can do something, but you should try to step at a point where the odds are that you are likely to get rejected, because if you're not pushing the envelope, then why would everybody ever give you anything, right? Because if it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it. So I think this is a very important speech. He does a great job speaking from the heart, and at the same time, he's very believable. And I didn't like nitpick on he could have done this or he could have done that, because I'm more focused on, was this speech persuasive for me? And I thought he was very persuasive. Is this something that I could use in my life? Is this something that, and obviously we're talking about it, right? So I thought this was an excellent speech. That's how I measure when it comes to speeches. And I think he did a fantastic job at this, describing his own personal experience and what he's doing and how he's taking it to the next level and helping people like us. Julie, and how do you pronounce that name? And what do you think of this speech and what the message he is conveying here?
I think you pronounced it great, because I don't, with Chinese, there are different phonetic sounds, and I can't tell by the spelling of it. So I think what you said is great. And I thought this was a great speech. And you used the sentence that, and I'm going to keep it short so there's time for everybody. You said rejection is always happening, and I thought that that's so true, and his examples were really heartfelt, especially the one about Steven Spielberg. You think he's such a great story maker, and yeah, he had to do it over and over again. I would like to propose that we need a follow-up session on this, and I would like some ideas on how to do this, because I think that's a great idea. And my own personal habituation is be considerate. If you get rejected, that means you've breached some boundaries, right? So I could really use group therapy on that. So I thought maybe you could just use a follow-up speech on this, and then also, as you know, one of the members email you back a really heartfelt response. I thought maybe with his permission we could even read that and then go deeper into this. And I really like his final quote, which is, if I open up to the world opens up to me. And I think he's living that example, because when he closed the speech, he said, This is what I want to get to. If you have any ideas, whether it's technological or not, email me. I thought he really opened himself up. So that was really great. And I really would like a follow-up speech. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, Atul, any comment? I have some things to say after Atul is done regarding this, because I think we probably need a follow-up, because rejection is something we all deal with. Atul, what are your thoughts on this?
Yes.
What did you get out of this speech?
First of all, thanks Jay for sharing the speech. It was an excellent speech, and really, as you mentioned, it was a persuasive speech, and for me also, it was really persuasive. Uh, what one thing I wanted to tell is that I was so motivated by the speech that I really tried this this as well. So what happened is uh, so this was Black Friday. This is today's Friday, right? So yesterday, what happened? We were going to go for some stores and going to get uh, do some kind of shopping. So we thought like we'll go outside and Subway and quick just get quick Subway and head for shopping. So since I the day before yesterday I seen this one, so I thought I'll just try this rejection approach. So I went to Subway and I basically asked the guy, "Hey, Happy Thanksgiving. Is there an offer like throw one on one free kind of stuff?" So, but I didn't demand it so that's I mean actually I should have said like, oh, give me one more free or kind of stuff. But what I kind of made it a little polite and little humorous. And the response I got was like, he started looking somewhere where he thought that there is actually some kind of deal that is he is supposed to give and is not giving. And so I did try his thing. And so I was rejected definitely. I was expecting that as well. So I didn't feel bad or anything about it. The good thing was that he played a trick on me. So when I gave my credit card, he swiped it and said, "Hey, it's not working." And I was like, "What, really?" And he said, "Hey, I'm just kidding." so so it was fun. So what I noticed is that rejections will matter only when you are passionate about some things and that got rejected. So you really want something, or you really want, or for example, you are really want a job and there you get rejected will matter more rather than you already have a job and you are just applying for 4 or 5 posts and you just wanted to get some kind of backup offer to back up so that you can tell other company that, hey, I have 3 other offers. And so in this case what will happen is, you even if you're rejected, you won't feel the pain of being rejected. So so this, I mean, based on even my yesterday's experience about trying the rejection thing, I noticed that you you will feel the pain of rejection when about only things that will matter to you most. I mean, he gave a couple of things in his speech that he asked for playing football in the backyard, and that guy allowed him. But if even if he had not allowed it, we wouldn't have felt that bad because he really didn't. I mean, maybe he wanted, but it was not very keen that, oh, he wanted, otherwise he will feel really bad, or he will moan about it. Oh, I didn't get a chance to play football in backyard or kind of stuff. But the point I wanted to make is that the feeling of rejection will come only when for things that you don't get and which you really wanted to get, rather than things that you are not a typical passionate or typical really want them. But it is a good approach. What I wanted to share is that it is still a good approach, because typically a rejection of any kind is we will take it with some pinch of salt. I mean, we'll not make it, we'll still feel it a little bit, not to the extent where we might feel when we don't get a job which we really wanted, or we want something that we really care. But it will still give you the small feeling. And the other thing is, in my case, what I got was the humorous kind of nature, the other person tried a trick on me as well. So uh, it kind of started a good day for me and for him also, and we discussed other things just because of this joke about what's plan and all those things, which I generally, I would just go order and thanks and just leave rather than spending, at least 5 minutes talking to him about his plans and he asking me what are your plans and where are you going and all those like chit chat thing, more kind of human connection. Um, yeah, it was good. So thanks, Jay, for sharing. And I think I agree with Julie, we should do a follow-up post on this one because I think it's a big it's some topic we can definitely discuss and see how we can, put it in our lives and get more out of this philosophy of rejection.
Yeah, so that's good. So you tried it. See, that's the thing. Trying is the main thing because you never know, right? Uh, I'll give you a couple of things that, and I think I have to document it because I think one of the things we do is we do a lot of things, but we need to document it. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Like I go to a park, right? In fact, I might go after this is over because I want to get some exercise. And everybody that I pass by, I will say hi to them. Okay, now you might say, well, what's the big deal about that? And you'd be surprised that just like if you do it so I experiment, like what's the right way to get some response? Like if I just say hi, then they'll just say hi. If somebody's like really like walking slowly and I say hi, like with a smile, then they're like, but then I said, let me try something even beyond that. So now what I do is I don't say hi, because hi, it ends the conversation. So I don't say hi. I say, like one guy one time was passing by and he was wearing some hat and I would say, oh, I like your hat, how you doing? And then he'll respond because nobody says that, right? So you have to kind of, and sometimes I might even just like, if somebody looks kind of playful, I'll just even try to give a high five. Some of them will and some of them won't, right? And I don't take it personally because I'm kind of playing with myself here, right? That this is not like, oh, did you see, because the other day something bothered me and it shouldn't have, but then it bothered me, so I told my sister. So there were these two women that were jogging and I was going for a walk. And I kind of got out of their way because they were like talking to each other, and I actually moved off the curb on the road so that they didn't have to, go one after the other. And when they were passing me, I said hi, and they didn't even say anything. And again, the right thing to do is somebody who gets out of your way, at least out of courtesy, just say thank you. They didn't do anything, just like jogged right past me like I didn't even exist. And that happens, I felt a little bad because I said, listen, I didn't have to get out of their way. I just did them a favor, right? As a kind of a courtesy, like, hey, look, I'm just being nice to them. And they didn't even have the courtesy to even say hi to me, like I didn't even exist. So I said, you know what? That's what happens. That's what rejection is, that you can't take these things personally. And, well, maybe I'm telling you, otherwise I wouldn't be telling you it right now. But what I'm saying is that because I'm telling you, it gives me a chance to kind of think more about it. What does that mean? That did I do the right thing, or I did the right thing, and maybe my expectations were high, and that's the whole point. That if you're expecting something, then you're going to take it personally. And in your case, you weren't expecting them to do it, right? But you got to ask. You have the courage to ask. A lot of people don't even, like if I tell my dad, it's, oh, they'll never go for it. But I said, Dad, wait a second. How would you know? You don't know them. They might say yes. So you always have to, I'll give you another example, and I know I'm taking to it. One time I went to Joseph A. Bank to buy pants last time. And I said, you know what? Let me ask. I said, I bought these pants when they were on sale, when it came down to, turned out to be like $50 per pants, right? And I said, they had a sale, and the guy said, no, we can't give it to you for $50. I just can't. So I just left. I asked, but I left. I said, you know what? I'm not going to give him a win now. I'll go home and then do some research and see if there's any better deal out there. And if not, then I'll just come back and buy it and not make a deal about it. So that's exactly what I did. I asked, I said, listen, I got these pants last time for $50. He said, no, it's on sale. You can get something, 2 for something. But I said, what if I buy 3? So I tried all these things, right? But this guy had no power. Sometimes you got to realize these people that you're being rejected, they have no power to say yes. But it doesn't mean, that means it's even easier for you to ask, because they're just going to say, like how can I how can I get it? So part of it is that in order to get rejected, you should try to find out at what point there is that bar that they cannot go past. Until you know what that bar is, you're just rejecting yourself. Julie, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, really, thank you so much for this great meeting, and I really appreciate all the prep work you do, and I know it's a lot, so I really want to say thank you.
Oh, thanks a lot. Atul, any closing thoughts on this topic on rejection, and then we'll close it out.
Just one last thought to give you one more example. One of my friends, one day I parked it in a like not a parking area, and I got a ticket for it, and I was just sharing the story with one of my friends, and he said like, hey dude, same thing happened to me, but what I did was I just called them and told them that hey, I was in a hurry and blah blah blah, and they actually waived the ticket for him. So I said, oh wow, that's good. You actually, I mean, I would have never done that. It's like calling the company and saying, hey, I was in doing this, I was hurry or something, giving in some reason, some genuine reason probably, and they could waive off things like this. I was not even thinking that somebody can just waive off things like that. I was just thinking it's like a law. Some private company, of course. So when it's like if you park in a no parking thing and people will tow it, then you have to pay money. I thought it's just a law. I mean, you cannot. There is no way of you calling and then they will be saying that hey, it's fine. We won't charge you. So it's sometimes you just have to ask. What I realize from that small thing is ask and see if they can do something for you. I mean and it's okay. They can say no and it should be fine. But the point here is to ask and. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, there is a research done here. Ask alone isn't good. It's good. It's better to ask than not to ask. But ask with a purpose makes a big difference. So there was this guy. He's written a great book which I highly recommend, Robert Cialdini, and he said that when you ask somebody and you use the word because, that makes a big difference. So if you ask something and just use the word because. My son wants it or something like that, right? It would make my son feel really good. The person is going to think about it. And he gives some examples. This has been tested. So anyway, I think Julie has to go, so I think we're done. And I think we need to have this session on some of the techniques on rejection when it comes to speech. We need to discuss that. So guys, I want to thank you for taking time out during the Thanksgiving weekend to come on the show. It means a lot to me. And I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll see you next week. Okay?
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you.
Bye. I'm going to stop it right now.